Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Finalhazard podcast. I am your host, Happiest of Matthews.
And as always, he is joined by his amazing co-host, the realest of Setherys.
No, you're not.
You're only the co-host.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
And we're joined by some other guys. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Micah, or Lalashlu on Twitter.
I'm Spider Donnie. I'm from Earth 420, and for the past 5 minutes, I set up this really stupid joke.
I'm Ivan. I am. Hold on, I didn't think we were gonna do spider puns. I'm like Miguel. If Miguel is like cool and handsome and awesome.
So you're not
Huh?
Miguel.
You're not.
Today, we are talking about the greatest movie of all time, the peakest of peaks.
Uh-huh.
The peakest goat to ever W.
Oh my
W Man's. Spider-Man. Is it across or? Yeah, it's across the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse.
I've already fumbled the bag. I'm sorry. Because people keep saying like across and beyond and into
because Into is the first, Across is the second, which is this movie we're talking about, and Beyond is the third movie that's going to come out at some point, at some point in the future.
And then there's also Into and On the Spider-Verse. I don't know, man. It's weird.
There is no On the Spider-Verse. You
That's
just
what
made
we're
it.
at. That's the
You're
movie
on-
we're in.
Yeah, we're on the Spider-Verse.
We're on
I'm
it.
trying to get her onto my Spider-Verse.
Yeah, she spiders on my verse to go across it.
Oh God.
Oh God. Anyways,
Yeah. Seth, I'm gonna let you lead the discussion here, buddy.
Okay, all right. So, well, going into this, let's before we get into spoiler territory, let's just talk about our general our general thoughts of expectations, or our general spoiler free thoughts for the people who haven't seen the movie yet. So, I guess Matt, what was your opening expectations going into this, and then what is your spoiler free thought?
So I was going into the movie expecting the greatest Spider-Man film ever to be ever made to grace my eyes. And I will say that I did come out with that expectation met, and I really can't talk about this movie without going into spoilers, but
there's a lot to talk about.
But
Yeah.
this yes, my other hyperfixation besides Sonic the Hedgehog is Spider-Man. It's one of the many, is one of the 5. And this was just the biggest love letter ever. So my favorite superhero.
yeah.
I'll say going into this movie, I was expecting, your expectations for this movie is it's got its own hype because the trailers are so good, but it's also the sequel to probably one of the greatest animated movies of all time. So the bar is pretty damn high. So, but when I went to go see it, I saw it with a friend, and we just after the movie was over, we walked out and we were like, that was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. I was blown away. I don't know. But
Yeah.
What about y'all?
So you guys already know I love Into the Spider-Verse. That is, like you said, it's one of the greatest films. Well, just one of the greatest films ever.
It's part of your identity, basically.
Yeah, that's that's a core experience for me, seeing that movie. I came out of that shit changed as a person. It's one of my favorite films. I'm not even really into superhero stuff or Marvel or Spider-Man. I mean, I like Spider-Man, but I'm not really into it. I don't really read the comics or anything. I just like Spider-Man, but I really like that movie. I remember just thinking, because not only is Spider-Verse, not only did it change the game for animation, because it basically forced everybody else to step up their game and actually innovate. It was also just a really well crafted story as well. So when they announced that they were making more of these movies, I was like, oh fuck yeah. Like at that point I was just like, okay, cool. Like this is something to look forward to. And with this movie, so this movie too, I basically avoided watching most of the trailers. I saw one or two because when you go to the movies they show trailers and you can't really avoid that. But like I avoided seeing trailers because I feel like trailers have the tendency to just kind of tell you everything. So I was like, I want to save a lot of my first time seeing this shit for the actual film. And my expectations were high because the bar's already been set pretty high. So even though years ago I was kind of worried because there's like a change in directors,
Yeah.
and like change in staff and stuff, like I was still kind of on the fence. Like I was still holding on to the idea that like there's no actual way, there is like actually no way that this movie could be worse than the first. Like there's just no way they would do that, right? Like that would be kind of a letdown. And I also wanted to go see it with a friend. I went in a packed theater. I think most of the people there in that theater were there to see Spider-Verse. I got my free poster. And the entire time I couldn't look away from the screen. Everything that happened was just so good. The whole theater was like reactive, which was really fun. And by the time it was over, I despite the movie being longer than the first, and despite the fact that I hate fucking long movies, I wish it didn't stop. I wish it kept going. Like I could have sat there and watched it for 4 hours because I was just like, this. Like I guess my spoiler-free review, if you want to know, it takes all the concepts, ideas from the first movie, expands upon it in a really good way. It's kind of like I remember I saw a reviewer point this out that like we're kind of in that trend where a lot of things we're trying to do the multiverse thing, which is it's getting kind of tired. But if you think about it, Spider-Verse was kind of the first to do it, or at
Yeah.
least the first to like popularize that trend.
It's the
So
trendsetter, so it doesn't bother me.
yeah, but and I also feel like it deserves to be able to do that because well that's kind of the point, but also because of the fact that it actually does something interesting with that idea of like multiverse stuff. Like it's such a interesting way that they do it. I'm trying not to say what it is. Just they just do so much more. They just did more and they kept doing more, and visually it was crazy. I did not know how they were going to top the first movie visually. But every 10 minutes it was something crazier and crazier. And I was just like, this is so fucking insane. Like the fact that I'm able to be in a theater with a friend in a packed theater with so many people hyped for this shit, watching this right into my eyes, it's like I don't know, man. Something about that is really crazy to me. And after that, we were both just like, that was one of the best things we've ever seen. Like I can't imagine someone coming out that theater being like, it was fine. I cannot picture it. So yeah, I mean, if there's anyone watching this who I guess just hasn't seen it yet, or has not seen Spider-Verse, because I've seen some people say they've never even seen the first one, which I thought was kind of weird. So go watch both these movies, bro. Like,
You're
stop
fucking
watching.
weird. No, just kidding.
Stop watching this video. Go watch both of those films. Like you have to. I feel like you just have to watch these. These are musts.
Yeah.
These are must.
So,
These are great movies. These are like I don't want to keep going on, but to end it off, like I came out this movie like, especially as an artist, it smacked me in the face. I was like, okay, I've been too complacent with myself. I need to step up my game and like do something crazy, like something as crazy as this. Because that's what I want to do. I want to do something. I want to work on a film like this. I want to do something super fucking weird, like crazy like this that no other animation studio is like. They're afraid to do. Just like I need to get good. I came out the movie theater being like, I need to get good because this stuff like this exists and I'm not doing it. Anyways, that's my
I think like I wasn't even sure if I was gonna see it. just because I'm not personally like the biggest movie guy, and I
Right.
usually wait for things to like come out, then I'm like, okay, I'll see it. But I felt like I needed to see this. Like, I needed to be in a theater with a bunch of people, enjoy their reactions, enjoy like the experience of seeing this like new innovation of animation as well. Because I love animation.
I
I
love
love
animation.
all
Oh
the
my
details. I
god.
love all the details that go into it. And my expectations for this movie weren't really much. I was kind of just going into it like I'm here for the experience. Show me, give me what you got. And I came out just like This ticked all my boxes, honestly.
Yeah.
It legit is just like everything like that I like when it comes to like animation and stories that they can tell. What the fuck? No, just kidding.
Who is playing Sonic?
My God.
Turn that shit off.
This is like a real defined story. A story with a constantly like consistent tone, and that's something you don't really get too often in like Hollywood animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is a consistent tone, especially a fairly mature story.
Like it commits to it.
It commits to it fully, and that really pleased me like a lot. It's nice to see animation like this, like spread their wings and be free, like do something
Mhm.
truly new and like fun. It's just fun to watch.
Mhm.
And the story itself is also just fantastic. The themes, like at least one of the major themes is kind of breaking off of like what we know of Spider-Man and like superhero comics and all that shit, and it does so like great. It does everything so great. Ivan?
I went in with one fear that we were told beforehand from an interview, and that fear turned out to not be true at all, and I don't know what was going on with that. It was like it was a love triangle plot point that was not in the movie at all.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I want to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, after.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
besides that, I cannot make any original thoughts ever in my entire life. I'm basically just regurgitating what everyone else has said. I love the first movie. I watched it with my family. I watched this one with a friend. Preview night Thursday, and it was peak.
Mhm.
Peak. Peak.
Simple
It's
as
just
that.
peak.
It's just peak.
It's just peak.
But
Alright.
so if you haven't seen the movie, it's good. Go watch
It's good.
it. 100% recommend. I recommend seeing it in IMAX theater.
Oh
I
yeah.
saw it in IMAX. Yes.
I didn't get to see it in IMAX because I went with a friend and our schedules didn't line up for the IMAX showing, but like I could only imagine like
The
this
IMAX
movie
one.
on like a giant like curved
Yeah.
screen.
And it's even better now because ironically, as we're recording this, they sent out a newer version with better audio.
Okay,
Oh, good.
Nice.
good, because I
Awesome.
wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, can we talk about that real quickly? Because
Because when I saw the movie, and especially the opening scene, and we'll talk about that what that is in a bit.
yeah.
The music is so loud, and the lines were so quiet, but it was only for like that moment, and then like a little bit like towards the middle. But for the most part, it was my theater's audio was pretty good.
I had the
Yeah.
same issue as well because like I already saw tweets about it and I was like, oh god, I hope that this and like again like that opening sequence, the dialogue was really quiet and I was like, this will be so, like this is good. Like I'm glad that there's flashy colors to distract me, but I would really wish I could like hear what the fuck was being said. And then like a later part in the film, a specific character talks a bunch and I couldn't understand it. And I
Yeah.
felt so bad because I couldn't understand half of what he was saying. I mean, I think my friend understood a bit more, but I was just like, I wish the audio mixing for the dialogue. It was just better. I hate when I watch a movie and like the music in the movie is so fucking loud, and then when it gets and like when characters are trying to speak, you cannot hear. Why do they do that? Why do they do that?
I learned that movie theaters give out little devices that have closed captions on them.
Yeah, for people who
I probably should have gotten one of those.
I honestly wish I had subtitles in my theater. I'm not even like hard of hearing or anything. I think I legit think I might have like audio processing issues or some shit because sometimes I just cannot understand people.
Yeah, the same for
I
me.
didn't have any audio issues. I don't know.
Yeah, your theater was fine.
That's good.
Mine wasn't too bad, except like I think only just a couple parts where it was like, "What? Huh? What did you say?"
What did you say?
Yeah.
Or
What are they
rather,
selling?
I wasn't like, I was locked in, but I
Yeah.
wasn't fully locked in enough to like notice it.
Sure.
I was just
Right.
like, wow,
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Because even if I couldn't even if I couldn't
Spider-Man.
understand a line of dialogue, I was just looking at the screen, looking at things moving around. So it's just like, yeah.
This is baby sensory video for adults.
True, true.
Adult sensory video, yeah.
But
There's so
yes.
much.
but yeah, 100% recommend now.
Nah.
Yeah,
Fellas,
now.
go
like,
see it.
actually.
Go see it in a
This-
theater with a bunch of people. That's the best experience.
This is the line. This is the spoil. We have gone into the spoiler territory now. So if you have not seen this movie and you clicked on this video for some reason, pause the video now,
And go
Go
see
to the
that
theater.
damn film.
then come back and watch the rest of the video.
Yeah.
It's good for watch time.
2 hours.
Or
2 hours and a
watch-
half.
Or watch
Yeah,
a
but-
cam rip on TikTok or something. I don't know. Actually, no. Go
No,
pay
don't.
for it.
Go give these
Go
people your
support the
money.
money.
Support the
support.
fluent film.
Get those. We need
Support indie
this
creators.
we need this movie. We need this fucking movie to make 3 trillion spider bucks.
Spider
Okay.
bucks.
Spider
Okay.
bucks. It's always about the
trillion.
money.
Spider bucks.
A $1
A spider
Spidillion.
All right.
Anyways.
Spoilers, final warning. Okay. Now, I want to talk about the beginning of this movie because this movie actually has a prologue, which the
Yeah.
first one kind of had one, but it was more of like an opening narration. This was like a full like you could almost like separate
Like 20
it.
minutes. It's 20.
It was like 20 minutes, and by the time it ended, I was like, wait, that was just the beginning of the fucking
It was
movie?
just the beginning of the movie. You could honestly split it and it'd be a pretty good short film. But
Yeah.
but basically it opens up and we're reintroduced to Gwen Stacy in her universe. And she's kind of giving her sort of like an extended version of the backstory that we got from the first movie, where we get to see she's Spider-Woman in her universe. Her dad is like the captain of the police, and her best friend is this universe's version of Peter Parker. But, you know, the difference is that Peter doesn't get bit by the spider, Gwen does. And in this universe, the domino effect leads to basically Peter ends up experimenting with like the lizard like serum, like the Dr. Kirk Connors serum that turns him into the lizard, and he turns into the lizard in this universe, and he attacks the prom that was kind of like their like high school prom.
A bully.
Yeah, like he like attacks like a bully
Yeah.
there, and Gwen fights him off, not knowing that that's Peter, and she accidentally kills him.
He gets
And
Yeah.
he dies and is essentially like framed for the murder of Peter Parker, which is like she didn't kill him, but like she did,
But
you know?
but like yeah,
It's a domino effect, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that is also her 1-to-1 origins from the comics.
Mhm.
And they also something that's really cool here that they did with a lot of the different universes in the movie. I know I'm kind of jumping, but they like fucking they did some shit with like the visuals on here.
Yeah, like
Um,
her world is so pretty. Like I remember the first movie, it doesn't look the same in the first movie. I think they did definitely some visual tweaking for this. But like
Yeah.
it's very like soft watercolor painting sort of
Yeah.
vibe. Like it's very like, is impressionist the word? Not impressionist, but like they do lots of like interesting things with the colors. Every like change of scene, the color palette changes. Like Gwen Stacy will be a different color, but the rest of her surroundings is a contrasting or complementary color around her. Like or they'll have like a limited color palette for one scene, and then they'll change the next scene. It's just like, it is so visually nice. Like I loved it. I was like, this, because I remember the first movie, I was like, oh, I can't really imagine like a full thing of like with this art style of her, because I feel like it would just kind of like not look as interesting as anything else. And then they did this, and I was like, you know what? I could watch a whole thing that looks like this. Me personally, like it's
The
so
art-
pretty.
The art style of her universe reminded me of it kind of reminded me of like sort of like the Spider-Gwen like comic book covers.
yeah,
That's
that's,
exactly
Yeah.
what
that's
it's based
exactly
on.
what
That's what it
they're
looks like.
based on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was gonna trying to post a picture of it. Fucking yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Oh damn, that's cool.
Oh yeah, that's that. Why did Micah post the fucking like that kid from the first movie, the fucking
The smiley
kind of
kid.
trained this is kid.
One
Yeah,
of
but
the one of the later scenes from her universe, just like it feels like you're on crack with how it changes every like 2 seconds.
yeah,
It's constantly changing. It's
spider cocaine.
it's very pretty. I think for some it can also be a little off-settle, like
Mm-hmm.
not
Oh, too
off-settling, but
much.
like a little
If-
like yeah.
If someone was watching this on a bad trip, they
Yeah.
would like
yeah,
lose
they're
their mind.
done for.
Yeah, you're done. You're done.
It
Yeah,
could be
my
maybe
Oh.
a little too much for some, but for me, I really enjoyed it.
Maybe
my
I should have said this in the spoiler-free section. If you have epileptic issues,
Oh yeah, don't watch this film.
maybe
bro.
don't watch this movie on
I mean, that
in
goes for
theater-
that goes for the
theater.
first one. That goes for the first one as well. I think, because even at the time, like that was the thing where it's like, yeah, if you have like like epilepsy, don't fucking watch these movies.
I mean, I don't think anything is going to be as bad as what I experienced during Shin Kamen Rider. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
I
That's funny.
I won't
I will
spoil that
say
movie because
that-
it's a good movie.
I will say that like during a few scenes in Miles's universe, they have the camera focus on the characters themselves in the middle, and the backgrounds it's like blurred out, kind of like if you're trying to watch a 3D movie without the red and
Yeah.
blue glasses, and
Mhm.
that kind of made my eyes hurt a little bit. Like I watched it the second time, and like it didn't bother me as much. But first time I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I kind of had to readjust myself to
Yeah, it'd be like,
the visual
well,
style of this movie.
yeah, because it's a lot. Like it after Gwen's, like it goes to Miles, and then after it like goes to totally different things. So you kind of have to be like, oh fuck, now we're doing
bef-
this now.
But
Yeah.
before we get to Miles's universe,
Gwen.
we're still in Gwen Stacy's universe, and there's a scene where it's after she's done talking with her dad. They go to this museum, which is being attacked by. It's like he's like a
Sure.
variant of the vulture,
Yeah.
but
From
he's
like from like
Italian
fucking-
Renaissance era, like not I don't want to say it's the
It's Da Vinci.
art-
It's Da Vinci.
it's like
It's
Da
Da
Vinci.
Vinci.
Yeah, it's like Da Vinci, but it's not like I don't want to say it's like the art of that time. It's more like the art like study of that time. You know, like Da Vinci's like
Mhm.
notebooks and stuff. It's kind
Mhm.
of like that.
And
And
see,
it-
they're
and it just-
also they're also in an art museum.
Yeah.
There's a bit where he's like, where like Gwen's like, "You're destroying the art," and he's like, "You call this art?" Like it's really interesting that like he's very critical of like modern like looking
Mhm.
artwork because they knock something down. It's like a balloon dog full of balloon dogs or something.
And
I think
that
that's a real.
wasn't-
I think that's a real piece of art, by the way.
Is it?
Didn't they
think
bring
so.
that? They brought back that quote from the first movie. Like, I think it's a Banksy.
Yeah. It's like the
That was
exact
funny.
same line. They just
Yeah,
like,
that's
pulled
what
it
it
straight
is.
from it.
Right, because
Yeah,
the
it's
dimension
probably a
is
Banksy
like
thing.
yeah, dimensions are like falling apart like in the first with like the
Yeah.
cropped up like pieces of dimension. But
Yeah.
then a mysterious visitor comes and assists Gwen in fighting this alternate universe vulture, and that, well, two actually, is a Miguel O'Hara and Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman.
The goats.
2099 in this movie, he has like laser like webbing.
Yeah,
which
like,
is,
like red
it looks
laser
super
webs.
cool. And I don't remember Jessica spinning web, but she does
No, I
have,
don't
like,
think she's ever.
No, she has webs, but she
Well,
has a
no, in the
motorcycle.
movie, in the movie, and like the motorcycle, but like canon, or no, I won't say that. Like comics, Jessica Drew, I don't think she ever like shoots web. She like more or less glides and like shoots like lasers and shit out of her hands. She does climb walls, like sticks to
Yeah.
walls and
Yeah.
shit.
She has webs, but yeah. Also, there's a
Yeah.
funny line when she shows up where she's like, talk about her husband. She's like, he's so corny, but he is so hot. She's
Right,
great.
because-
I love her.
because she's pregnant for some reason, fighting
She is
villains,
pregnant.
and-
She is
It's-
pregnant in this movie.
That
It's
really
baby
holds-
scrambled eggs.
Oh my god.
That tweet about her
It's-
baby like shaking around.
It's specifically the whole thing with the pregnancy is it's specifically based off of her 2016 run
Mhm.
in the comics where she gets pregnant for a little bit in that time. Yeah.
And she's still
Yeah.
fighting with the baby inside of her.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, she
With
can't
the
stop.
and the
She's
the
pregnant.
motorcycle and the motorcycle.
Yeah, she's got a sick motorcycle.
Yeah, it's all
Okay.
it's all that.
Everyone knows that if you have a motorcycle, even if you're pregnant, you can go fight bad guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she can't stop, bro. She's a Spider Woman. She has responsibilities. And
see.
I think Gwen was like, "Can you teach me, please?"
Well,
Can you
no,
adopt me?
she says,
Yeah,
"Can you adopt me?"
He's like, what? I really like the character interaction in this movie. They're
I
good.
It's
do
they're
too.
very good.
Love it.
Very,
Love
very
it so much.
good.
So after they beat the vulture in this scene, Gwen gets like, she kind of gets like separated from the two other spider people, and her dad shows back up, and he's like, "I'm putting you under arrest. You have the right to remain silent." And then Gwen, not being able to do anything else, reveals that it's her, and he kind of stops for a moment, but
The cop in him
the
still takes
yeah,
over.
He is still like, you have the right to remain silent. And she's like, she's basically begging him to like just stop. Like, can you like? Doesn't she say like, can you just be my dad for a second and like not a cop?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She also asked, "Are you really that scared of me?" Which, like, I don't know why. Like, I was like, "Oh, that
It
like
hits deep.
that hurt me."
It
Like,
hurts.
Dude, the stuff
Yeah.
they do with her and her dad in this movie, like I was just like, oh, like it's good. It's just like it's very, like I was very glad that they did this with Gwen's character because I had a fear that they would just kind of revolve around Miles, but they didn't.
Mhm.
Like obviously she still has something to do with Miles because they like each other, but like she has this conflict with her father that like I thought was really interesting. I thought was really good. And I think it also kind of plays into the whole thing where it's like, yeah, like her dad is a cop and he's trying to like still be a cop, but like that's his daughter. And he doesn't know how to process that like
Yeah.
his daughter is the person who potentially killed some innocent kid.
Who's
Yeah.
like family to him, by the way.
Yeah.
mhm. They point out that like Peter essentially, that was his second home essentially.
Mhm.
hmm
He's
But oh wait, go ahead.
he says something like in the scene after like the death and like all the like the manhunt. He says like Peter Parker like ate like dinner at my table and ate dinner at my table with and was my daughter's best friend and yada yada yada. All that good shit.
Yeah. So he was very personally affected by Peter's death as well.
Mhm.
So that's why
Yeah.
you can kind of like, this isn't like maybe the right decision, but like you understand that like
Like
you
get it. It's just like, but that makes it worse. You're just like, God,
It hurts
which
Jesus,
I
even more.
realize is a theme of this entire movie.
Yeah.
right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't
Mhm.
have your cake and eat it too,
Unless you have two
Um,
cakes.
unless you have two cakes.
Well, speaking of someone who wants 2 cakes.
Not yet, not yet. Because what happens after that, right, is that Miguel traps her dad, right? He like puts him in a fucking
It's like a laser web
laser thing.
thing.
Just he traps, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I'm trying to remember the specifics of it, but
But basically he keeps him from like
doing
either
anything to her.
doing anything to her, and then they give Gwen the this
The
little like
watch.
watch thing that allows her to travel and exist in different dimensions, and she joins their little like little gang.
Fighter
And that's
League.
so pretty much after that we get the opening credits, and then we get reintroduced to
Miles
boy,
Morales.
Miles
Morales.
Morales, which again, super crazy that like that was just an entire like prologue, and then now we're into like the main story.
Mhm.
I was like,
Dude,
Jesus.
like 10 minutes into Miles' shit, I was like mentally checking myself, being like, this took a while. Like we'd probably be like a third of the way through a regular ass movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a very slow burn movie.
Not even
but
a bad way.
not in a bad way,
Yeah.
of course. But yeah, we're back in Miles' dimension. He's been Spider-Man for about like a year and some
A year and a
change.
half.
Year
And
and 4 months.
yeah,
Mhm.
and he's missing Gwen. He's missing all of his friends that he made from the first movie. But he's being Spider-Man, and he encounters a new villain who calls himself the Spot. And the Spot, he's like, he's robbing like this convenience store. He's trying to steal an ATM machine, and like they're fighting throughout the city. But at the same time, Miles's parents are having a little like interview, or not an interview, but like
They're
Teacher
like talking
conference.
to like it's like with a counselor, and he is
Yeah.
not there, and they're waiting on him while he speaks Spider-Man.
Hmm.
So he ends up like subduing the Spot, and he makes it to the I keep wanting to say interview. It's not an interview. It's a parent teacher conference. And he
Yeah,
makes it there, and they're sort of talking, but
they're talking about his future,
yeah,
what he
his
wants
future
to do.
and what he wants to do, and they set up this like they set up like the emotion, like the internal sort of like conflict, I guess,
Yeah.
of like Miles wants to. Well, he's subtly saying that he wants to go back and see like all the other dimensions with like his friends in it, but like
Yeah.
he wants to like go out and like be
Not be restricted.
not be restricted by
yeah.
like what his parents want, but also we brought up the line, you can't have your cake and eat it too unless you have 2 cakes, which is a sort of like like a visualization of like Miles's like arc in this
Character.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Where-
trying to balance between 2 things that he can't really have at the same time, like at all.
He
Like-
wants to protect everyone, but also he wants to be Spider-Man and protect everyone, but also live his life as
Yeah.
well.
He's juggling a bunch of things. Honestly, like it's like he has like 5 cakes that he has to juggle because
Yeah.
like he wants to
Yeah,
be
he's
Spider-Man.
so full.
He,
He's so full.
he wants to be Spider-Man and protect people, but he also wants to be a normal kid. But he can't really do that because he's Spider-Man. But he also wants to, make his parents happy. But he can't make his parents happy when he's doing this stuff without telling them why he's going out and doing this stuff. And he also wants to see his friends. He wants to see Gwen, but he can't because they're from other dimensions, and they can't stay in this dimension too long. And he wants to do there is too many things that Miles has to grapple with that he just cannot. He's struggling to learn how to balance them. Especially with the whole, interdimensional bullshit. Like, there's no way. There's
It's
just no way.
it's a very classic like superhero dilemma
Yeah. Also, this scene with the Converse it's fun. This movie's just really funny. Like
Mhm.
It is.
consistently, it is
The
funny.
parents.
I don't think there was a joke in this where I was like, that was not good. Like
That wasn't funny.
I love.
Yeah.
I love his parents so much. I love the culture, like little bits of them. Whenever like his mother is just like gets on her.
He like snaps and the little flag
Snaps and
pops
speaks
up.
a little. Speaks her a different language.
This
And then
movie was made
his-
for bilinguals, actually.
Yeah, true.
This movie's for bilingual.
And then
If
his
you know both
father-
languages, you'll have a good time.
And then his father is always like the one who wants to like step in and do something, but also he's
Yeah, like
He's always looking
he's
out
trying to be he's trying to be the stern dad. But
yeah,
like,
he's always looking
He's-
out for his wife, but also Miles as well.
mhm.
He's a little too clueless sometimes.
Yeah,
yeah, and
It's a
his
throwaway
mom is
line.
what's the throwaway line?
No, we'll get to it, but
Okay,
it's really
okay,
funny.
we'll get to it.
Almost.
The mom is I love his mom, bro.
Mhm.
I love that they expanded on her a bit more in this film.
Mhm.
Because also we get to see like the Hispanic side of
Yeah.
Miles, because Miles is Afro Latino, so like
yeah.
that was really nice to see.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, was just like having that big like party scene.
Yeah, I love the person.
Yeah.
Also,
I love
also
that.
just I just I don't know. I like mom stuff in media.
They
I love mothers.
they lean a lot more into his different multiple cultural like how would you say it? Oh,
Just
fuck it.
multicultural, like
Multicultural,
side of the
Multicultural,
Culture
yeah.
family.
And
He's
it's so
biracial.
fun to see. They lean into that a lot more in this movie.
Oh my god.
He is biracial.
He is. That song is hilarious.
That song is so funny. Anyways.
Seth.
He immediately leaves because he has to be Spider-Man again, right?
Right, because the Spot has broken out of his like little trap that he
Webby trap.
accidentally put himself in, and his dad gets like a call to go like figure this shit out too, because he's also a police officer, and he gets involved in the fight a little bit, and this is where we get the explanation of like the Spot is actually like a scientist from Alchemax, the facility from the last movie.
But you
Bro
know the
is
specific guy.
Bro is literally a background character, and it's like who wasn't like, who had no name. Nothing about him was important. All he
But
did
you want to know
was
what started it though? Because you remember in
That
the first
fucking
movie.
bagel.
You remember in
He-
the first
he gets-
movie, Peter was like, "I'm gonna give myself a bagel." They're escaping Malcolm X. He throws the bagel. It hits a guy. Like it's just a guy.
It's just the guy, and that guy, then just happens to be in the collider during the
Because he
final
was like
act of the
he was
movie.
one of he was one of Doc Ock's like I guess assistants or some
Yeah.
shit. And
Yeah.
he was there while the collider like fucking activated or like exploded basically.
And it mutated his body to like
Because
create,
of
like,
Miles.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
his whole
because of
thing, his whole thing is he's like, "You created me. You made me into this fucking abomination."
What'd
you create him,
Yeah.
which
Spider-Man?
also ties into the fact that he is part of the experiment that summoned the spider that bit Miles
Mhm.
from
Yeah.
another dimension. So he created him, and Miles created him.
Yep.
And then the throwaway line from Miles' dad is like, "Man, why'd you make him, Spider-Man?"
He's like, "I didn't make him."
It's one of the funniest jokes in the movie to
Dude,
me.
it's so good.
Generally.
It is so good, bro. Also, that like, because before that, or no, it's after it. I think when they they get him or something, and I don't think they get him. I think he runs away, and like him,
Oh no,
the dad,
He escapes.
yeah,
Something
the
like that.
dad and Miles, but Miles as Spider-Man are talking. First of all, the voice that Miles puts on when he's Spider-Man is so fucking fun. Hey. Like he talks real slow, and like he has like really weird mannerisms.
Yeah.
Like he's trying too hard.
He's
is
trying
trying too
really
hard.
hard not to like make sure that his dad doesn't know who he is.
It's me, yeah. And like
I feel like
the dad
even then he
starts,
wouldn't get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Even if he talked in his normal voice, I do not think he would know.
Yeah.
They-
You know what I
they
noticed?
make a
You know what I
joke.
noticed? Oh no, go ahead.
What?
Go ahead. I
Oh,
was just wanted to say that I noticed that in the beginning of the movie, back to the Gwen scene, when she talks to her dad as Spider-Woman, she does the same thing.
She does the exact same
Yeah.
thing. It's just like a universal, like, I need to make my voice different. Here's how I make my voice different, so that they
Yeah, it's always been a thing in like the Spider-Man everything when he's talking to specifically like the teenage Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, whatever, when they're talking to like somebody they know while they're in the suit, they kind of
Yeah.
like change their voice to
I look forward to working with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how it's like how Bruce Wayne talks like this, but Batman talks like this. You know.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Do yourself.
Yeah, but the dad is like
Just do it.
the dad is like confiding in him, even though it's Spider-Man, which is funny because he doesn't hate Spider-Man, but he's kind of like, you're a vigilante and you're not really going about fighting crime in
He's
the way
come
that I
around.
approve.
He's come around a bit.
He's come around, but he's
Vigilante.
got some vigilante.
Like
Stop.
Miles's father kind of gets on Spider-Man for like, why'd you let him go? This is your job, right?
Yeah.
Also, there's a
Speaking
line he
of-
says. There's a line where
Oh, no,
he's
no.
like, "Oh, you need," because he's talking about Miles, and he's like, "Maybe you need to get off the kid's ass."
Yeah.
There's a lot of cursing in this movie. Like a little
Quite a bit.
surprisingly to me.
There is.
There was just a lot. They were just dropping words that I wasn't expecting to hear.
Yeah.
Like, I remember they said hell in the first movie, but there's like hells. Is there a dam? I feel like there's like just
There's
just
a couple
few words.
dams.
There's
Yeah.
a few words where I was just like, oh shit. I mean, it's PG, so they can do it because they do have limits. But like, I was
Yeah.
just like, wow. It didn't feel out of place though.
No.
Mm-mm.
Like if Miles said the N word in this movie, I would have been like, fine, that's
I would
fine.
have popped off. I'd have popped
Dude,
off.
That's
my-
gonna be
my-
that's gonna be the next. That's gonna be the big moment in the next movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
in
Um,
my French class for like some year in high school, we watched like a movie that was made in France and dubbed in English. It got a PG rating and it had the NA word in it, so it's possible.
That's funny.
We can fight for it.
But
After that,
see the spot he escapes, and he finds out that he's actually able to like transport himself through dimensions, and he goes to a very specific dimension, and he meets the convenience store owner lady from Venom,
oh my god.
and it's like in live action, but he's animated, and I was just so like. I was
like,
so like
oh, no
weirded
way.
out because I wasn't
yeah.
expecting that at all.
That's when you
I wasn't expecting
know
it either.
that's like the part of the movie where you know, oh, this is gonna get a little weird.
Yeah,
This
we're
is
getting
gonna get-
crazy. Also, I said it earlier, kind of, but like Spider-Verse, I feel like is one of the only franchises who can get away with this. Like, hey, do you remember this thing? Like referential humor, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't do it all. Like it doesn't. There's a point in the movie where it's a lot of it, but like it's not too much. And when they do it, I'm not there. I'm not sitting in the theater like, oh, of course they would reference this when, but like I feel like it's one of the only films that like kind of deserves to be able to do that. You know, it was just a very like, what the fuck? What the
I should
fuck?
mention that as well. We also see a dimension made entirely out of Legos with Lego people.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that real quick because
was-
that segment was animated by a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
That is a
I-
true story.
Yesterday, yeah, I read an interview about that, and it's just that his clips kind of got around, and the two directors, is it, or producers?
Lord Miller, yeah.
They produced
Uh,
and wrote the movie.
Okay, yeah. And they previously did a little. They worked on like the Lego Movie, but they saw him, and he was like, and like, I think it was like, it was near the end of the movie, like near the end where the movie's kind of wrapping up. Like in production, I mean. So it was like around like 12 months ago or more. But they got hold of that kid. And even his parent. Well, apparently his account got hacked on YouTube, and his parents were like a little unsure if like when they reached out, if that was like legit. But they did the research, and eventually they contacted each other and figured like worked it out. And his father, the kid's father, bought him like a bunch of like top the line like computer parts so that he can get started and like get things done faster. And
his name
and
is
then
Preston. I just checked. His name's Preston.
yeah, and then he
That kid's
helped
going
out,
places.
and then he helped out on making that little Lego section, which is awesome
And-
because he was inspired by the Lego movies, which they made, and then they got inspired by him, and they put him in that movie, which is
And
awesome.
if you were to watch that scene and then we're told, oh yeah, 14-year-old kid made this, you wouldn't even guess.
You
Dude,
wouldn't know.
it is like
I wonder. I just thought it was animated and or they just did it in house.
Yeah.
Like, you know how when the Lego movie came out, it's like, is this CGI or it's stop motion? Like, imagine the Lego movie if it was still CGI but looked even more like stop motion. Like, that's how
Yeah.
fucking good it was.
It's wonderful. I
Amazing.
love it so much. I hope that kid is
That
definitely
kid-
gonna like go far.
Yeah. Anyways, Spot is going crazy.
And now, and because Spot is going crazy, the fucking the Spider Council is on the job. They're cooking.
Also,
could-
real quick, just shout out the kid on Twitter. His name is at @FG_artist. Check him out.
Artist. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, brother. Anyways.
So
Yeah,
then the
but-
Spot decides to go to a bunch of different dimensions that have an Alchemax and a Collider. So that's what he's doing. And then
getting powered up.
he's getting strong. Is this when Gwen comes back?
The spider people are like on the job, and
Right.
yeah,
I think Gwen does.
Miles
Yeah.
he has like a little section, of course, with his family. He gets the cakes while
Yeah, he gets the
dealing
2
with all the
cakes.
Spider-Man shit.
Yeah, they get messed up when he gets there.
Yeah, they get messed up. He goes see his family. His parents are, of course, not very happy, and he's kind of acting a little
Strange.
strange.
Like he's
so
being
they-
standoffish. He's not really being honest about what's going
Yeah.
on. So they're just like, bro, just say it. Like what is
So-
it? And
So they ground him.
yeah.
And we can basically just skip to where Gwen appears.
Right.
Because she shows up and she's like, hey. Oh yeah, he goes into his room and like, listens to music and she's
cool
like,
down.
Miles.
Yeah,
He's
it's essentially the teaser trailer like moment at that point.
Yeah.
She comes in. She like. Okay, first of all, Gwendolyn Stacy,
Miss Girl
comes into my man Miles's room. Not only sits on his bed with her shoes
with the
on,
shoes on,
With the shoes.
she then
dirty ass socks.
she then goes over to his like expensive collectible action figures, opens it, puts it on the shelf. Then she like, oh, is this your like personal drawings?
Let me take a look.
Let me look at this.
There's a
And
lot
then she
of
discovers that Miles has been sketching her.
So much.
Mhm.
And she's like, missed you too.
like,
You know,
what?
I totally just like draw I just draw the my platonic female friend like over and over
all
and
the
over
time,
again, like, all the
just
time,
she just has a nice space. Very
yeah,
drawn.
it's
anyone
very,
does.
it's symmetrical.
Yeah,
You
so
have a
she
very
comes to
drawable face.
Yeah.
yeah.
What told you that?
She comes into the room and basically it's a moment where they're kind of confiding. It's like, yeah, like he wants to get out of here, and she's like, well, let's get out. Let's get
Yep.
out of
I'm
here.
grounded.
And he's like, yes. Oh, what's the line? She's like, are you
Is
sure?
Spider-Man
And
there?
he's like, I'm grounded. Spider-Man grounded? I can go check. I can go check.
They have a really nice scene where they like swing through the city together, and then she kind of like separates herself for a bit, like implants some sort of like device before like meeting back up with him. But then there's this like really cool look, like a really cool like shot slash moment where they're like, because they have Spider-Man powers, obviously they can like sit under the gargoyle, and like the
Upside
camera's
down.
upside down, and it's this just really like sweet scene where like because Gwen this entire time has been explaining like, oh, there's like these alternate universes, there's this like spider like man society that like defends the multiverse, and I'm a part of it now. And
But each time Gwen falls for Miles,
for
but it never
Spider-Man,
works
she
out.
says
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man specifically.
Yeah, but it
She's
never
like
works out.
in every universe,
Gwen Stacy.
And
Spider-Verse,
as
but it works out.
as she's saying this, Miles like was like moving his hand like closer and closer to hers, and then he stops. But then they like I forgot what he says.
He
But, like,
says
So maybe, what did he say? He says something.
basically like, well, there's always
Thirst
like
for everything.
That
Yeah,
wasn't
there's always a
Miles
first for
Morales. That
everything.
was Miles
was-
Rizales. That was
He was putting the
first
moves
for
on there a
everything.
little bit. He was putting the moves on there a little
He
bit.
was.
Resiles him Malice.
him Malice.
Yeah.
She like rests her head on his shoulder. It's very nice.
It's
It's
cute.
cute.
It's cute. I
Um,
like them. They're cute.
I like them a lot.
But now the movie gets really
Mhm.
going.
Mhm.
The
What were
good
you gonna say, Matt?
times have to end.
Basically, wait, don't they like go back to the? They go back to like the party, right, or something like that.
Or like
They
they
do
go
go back
under
to
like
the
a
party,
hangout
yeah.
thing.
But Gwen has to leave.
Yeah, and Gwen has to leave. They're having like a little conversation. She meets the parents,
The mother.
the mother and
There's
the
like a
father.
she calls them by their first names.
Which is
And,
so
like, there's, like,
weird
a-
because that implies that Miles told her first names.
He had well, like he talked about like, oh yeah, I have friends. So, like, there's he calls her Gwanda. So that like I'm inferring that like within the year he's like talked about them but not talked about them.
Right. I'm just crazy that she knows and she had the goal to be like first name basis, and they're both like, oh, okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it ever stated how long Gwen was in like Earth 1610?
In the first movie.
In the first
Yeah.
movie,
I mean,
she said that when she traveled to the dimension, she also traveled like a week into the past or something. So like in the first movie,
she was already there before Miles
Yeah.
knew it because she was already in the school. So like she had been there for a bit.
Yeah, that's so like, I don't know. Who
But-
knows?
Yeah, she's got
It's-
she's got to leave, makes an excuse. And then she does. Miles kind of follows her, and she's doing some research.
oh,
At,
Oh,
uh,
no,
Don't they
but-
make a comment? She's like, she looks like she's old enough to vote.
Yeah,
or something like that. It's like,
yeah. What?
before Miles like chases after her, he's kind of upset that she has to leave, and then he talks with his mom again,
That's right.
and she sort of ungrounds him to let him like go after her, and then they go to Gwen's investigating like the
nighttime scene where they're sneaking around. Right?
Anomaly.
the
Yeah.
anomaly.
That they played a song in that like section, and I was like, "What is that song?" Because I was
It's
like,
so
this,
good.
and the scene itself was just really cool. I was just like, "Fuck
Mhm.
everything."
Soundtrack in this
The sound-
entire
oh.
movie.
Dude, the
Mm.
soundtrack is so good. Holy shit!
It's perfect.
The score and the insert songs just
Yeah,
fucking
like, ugh,
perfect.
ugh.
But yeah, this is where we find out that like what Spot is doing is that he's going to these Alchemax.
And why Gwen returned as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's powering himself up now, and we get to see like a hologram like recreation of like what happened. And then is that when she leaves? She goes to the other dimension, and Miles follows her.
She opens the portal and she looks back, and Miles, because she doesn't know Miles is behind her, so he's invisible. Which it's a nice scene. I will say though, how the fuck did she not sense that he was there?
I mean,
Did the spider sense
he
not
wasn't doing. He
detect?
wasn't doing. He was. Spider sense doesn't
It's for
detect if
danger?
you.
Yeah.
The spider sense is for danger, not
Okay,
not
I
just like
guess.
random people.
Miles has also
guess
used
so.
it around other spider people.
That's true. So
Because
I
like
guess he's just built different.
spider sense is like to sense like hostility or danger coming towards you. Like for example, like Venom doesn't set off like Peter Parker's spider sense because of how long like the symbiote was attached to like Peter and shit like that.
And that's what makes Venom like more dangerous than most villains.
Mm-hmm.
There's this like it's a cute scene because like she's looking out into the city like, and like he's like invisible but he's right there, and he kind of leans forward a bit, which like in a movie, oh that's really cute. In like real life, that's weird.
Yeah. Hey man, what you doing?
What are you doing there? Anyway,
What
she
you doing?
leaves and
They go into that portal.
Miles follows, and then that's when they go to
Moonbutt.
Moonbutton, which
Well,
is
Batan.
like Mumbai and
India.
Manhattan fused together. And this is where we meet. I already forgot how to say it. Fuck.
Paviter Pravakar. That's his name. Paviter.
Yeah, Spider-Man
Yeah,
India.
You call him Pav.
They call him Pav.
Pav.
Yeah,
There you go.
Pav. That's his introduction. I knew that he was gonna be like a fan favorite, but like what a like very
He's so lovable.
what a very lovable like character just immediately.
Yeah, he's like
He's
he's
been
the Spider-Man of
Spider-Man.
this universe. Yeah,
He's been
perfect.
Spider-Man for 6 months.
and
So
he's just
fresh.
he's just having the time of his life as Spider-Man.
Dude, he's
too.
just flourishing. He's just like he wakes
He's
up.
anti-depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, but apparently the way they set him up was like supposed to be he's like a Spider-Man before like all the trauma
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
okay, that
sadness
makes
and
total sense.
depression of
Oh,
being
yeah.
a Spider-Man hits you.
Brings
you know?
That's kind of when I got that look. I'm like he's just living his best life. What does he say? I wake up, I don't work out because I'm naturally buff.
And I don't want to get too
And I don't
big.
want to get too big.
I part my perfect hair, and Miles is like, you don't use any product. He's like, just coconut oil and some genetics.
Everyone laughed in that scene. Everyone loved him.
He is smart. People love him. Like he has a girlfriend. Like he just has a good life. He is just.
This is where the traffic
going.
is. This is where the traffic is. This is where the other traffic is, and this is where the British stole all of our stuff.
That's
He also
nice.
has like a cool like he uses his webs in a really cool way where he spins his cuffs, like his bangles, and sort of like swings them around. It's like a yo-yo almost. He swings it around like that. It's very, very cool.
He's awesome.
He's
I will
epic.
say his movie design in this is way better than like
The comic.
Yeah.
the comic design. Because if you don't know what
yeah.
Spider-Man India looks like in the comics, Spider-Man India is just Spider-Man with Aladdin pants. It's very boring.
Or no, they're like he is wearing like traditional like pants to that culture. I will say though, like his original design, it's just a Spider-Man suit with Indian pants. Like that's it. But in this movie, they took a bit more tabs from like cultural stuff, and like it's kind of funny because his hair is out, which you would think that'd be a red flag in terms of exposing your identity. But I think they did that to make him like stand out with the other
There are
characters.
certain spider people that don't cover their face. Like it's fine.
Yeah, like, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, he's fun. His world is also very visually beautiful. Like it's so dense. It's dense. It is colorful. It's like super busy. I mean, I guess because it's literally it's supposed to be very busy. There's supposed to be so much stuff going on. It's like it's basically
It's
like a
literally
future.
India mixed with New York. It's
Yeah, like it's huge and it's giant and it's so crazy to look at. Also, like there's a line when they were introducing him where it's like, because he's only been Spider-Man for 6 months, but he was already in this little spider league thing, and Miles didn't even know that this existed. Like he was already there. And he like, being Spider-Man is so easy, and then he makes like a comment where he's like, "Oh, you guys like each other, right?" And they're like, "What? No, we don't." He's like, "No, you guys do. I can read you really well."
Yeah, he knows.
But
right
this
away.
is this that's interesting that you bring that up right now, because I was going to bring up that they're teasing this other character named Hobie, who Gwen keeps bringing up. Miles is like, "Oh, who's that? What's
Yeah,
going on?"
like isn't that what they mentioned? Isn't that what they like
She
basically
stays at
lied
his
about?
place for a little bit.
They said that Hobie and Miles and Gwen were gonna be in this love triangle,
Triangle, and then they lied.
and then they fucking lied about
Thank
it.
God.
See, that's
thank
the
God.
thing, is that Pavitar, he is a silly Billy. He just says things.
But he does bring up like, "Oh, he doesn't know about Hobie," because I think he is just being like,
Bro's
being
a top 5 instigator on God.
"Yep."
Pavitar's not an instigator. He's just a silly Billy.
Nah, he's an instigator.
We
Yeah,
don't.
but they're
We're
doing
gonna
their
meet the
little thing
ultimate instigator though.
soon. Yeah, they're doing their thing, and this is does the spot does come to this dimension and starts fucking shit up with the collider in this
Yeah.
universe,
Yeah,
They're
and they
under
have to
the
go
spot.
stop it.
he puts up like a force field, and Miles is like, I'm gonna shut it down with like his electricity powers, and he's not really doing it. And this is the
Yeah,
part when the best character in the movie
the
comes in.
best character ever to ever exist in anything.
All of
Obi
Twitter.
Brown, bruv. In
Obi
its
Brown.
the spider punk in it. Yeah,
Go.
hey, bruv.
I hate the
Yeah.
AM, hate the PM. I hate labels.
He's British, but we can forgive him. It's okay.
I'm not a role model. I was a runway model. I hate the AM. I hate the PM. I hate labels.
You call yourself a hero, you're a narcissist, whatever he says.
Bro's really the greatest. He was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
He has the
I'm
coolest like animation style, because all of them have different ones.
Yeah, let's talk about him, because separate parts of his body are animated on different frame rates.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and he's like constantly like
Changing colors. He looks like a cutout.
He's like cut out like a classic 90s like punk rock like poster almost.
Yeah.
Like that's what he is.
He is
just,
so cool.
He took like 3 years to like get right.
Yeah, like 3 years, which I assume it was just trial and error before they were able to like nail down the style, which is super fucking crazy. Also, just before we go on, I just want to say like, what a fucking like banger character. What a banger character. I don't know. I think it just makes me happy to see like alt like black characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And have them be so like beloved like instantly, because I feel like I mean, I guess because with Spider-Verse, most of the characters are POC, so you don't really run into the problem of, oh, everyone just focuses on the white characters and just doesn't really pay attention to like the one POC character who gets no love. Like most of the cast is POC, and like the fact that like there is just a character for like, not like everyone loves him, but like specifically for black kids, for black people to like gravitate towards, I think is like,
It's very important.
It's so important, and it's so good, and I can never be happier.
I hate that AM and PM is a double joke, because the PM also means prime minister, and he's British, and he's an anarchist, so it's funny.
We literally saw him fighting cops and shit, bro. Like he's real.
Because I guess in his dimension is like overrun by like a fascist dictatorship. He's like the sole like fighter or whatever.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Spider-Verse for just having characters who like fighting Nazis and fascists and terrible people.
Yeah,
like they just
straight
up say that.
That's what superheroes
Him and
like.
Spider-Man
all
Noir
about.
will be great friends.
Yeah,
I can tell.
It will be.
Yeah, so he shows up, he breaks the force field with his fucking sick guitar because he's sick.
He's the greatest. But
Lead the way, Seth.
But yeah, the Spot manages to he manages to get away, but like the Alchemax building starts to, because it's above like a busy bridge, and it's crumbling down, and you know they're trying to stop it, trying to save as many people as possible. But this is where an interesting part of the most, probably one of the more interesting parts of the movie comes in, is this scene where Pav, his girlfriend, is on a bus on the bridge, and her dad is he's like a police officer. He's kind of like the Gwen Stacy's dad equivalent of this universe.
Of this universe, yeah.
And he's like trying to like save people as well. And Pav has the choice of saving the falling school bus with his girlfriend in it, or the girlfriend's dad. And he's like, I can do both, and he can't. But Miles ends up helping him, and he's able to save both of them.
Yeah, so he saves the dad, and he saves the girlfriend, and saves them both. It's all good and fun. It's all nice. Also, that scene was really fucking, like, I felt stressed. I was so stressed out.
It's stressful.
Because I feel like in these movies, like, people do die, so you're just like, oh god. Oh.
If this was a normal movie, this would probably not a quote unquote normal movie. If this was a shorter animated movie, this would be the ending. Like, this would be the end, almost.
Right. Yeah. But he saved. Both of them get saved. But
this causes a black hole to open up, and then other members of the Spider-Man. Are they called Spider Society?
They're called the Spider Society.
Yeah.
I thought we were purposefully.
I thought I was joking. I thought I was joking.
I thought we were purposefully trying to keep it until we got to the Spider Society part. But yeah, they're called Spider Society.
But yeah, they come in and they're like closing up the black hole, and Miles and Gwen and all of them are like, "Yo, Miguel wants to see you," and you can already tell. Tell that's not a good thing.
Also, Spider-Woman gets like kind of upset with Gwen because she's like, "Did you go to see Miles when I told you not to?"
Oh yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, because she basically she had a mission to do under 24 hours, and she didn't do it, so now she's mad.
I also jeopardized my multiverse saving mission to go see a very platonic male friend. That's
yeah. So they go through.
So they go to Nueva York, which is the Spider-Man 2099 universe, and it's all of these different Spider people from like across the multiverse are here. We get to see
everyone's here.
You can see a bunch of different cameos from different like Spider-Man media. There's like PS4 Spider-Man, which is like he's like super like clean and like animated.
Like he looks like he got plucked out the game. He looks like he got plucked out the game.
Who else do we get to see? We get to see.
There's just like a bunch of like different comic Spider-Men. Like
there's a bunch of different suits and stuff. Different suits throughout the series. There's
Cowboy Spider-Man.
I saw fucking Spider-Man Unlimited and I almost jumped out of my seat, but I didn't want to get fucking looked at like a cringeloid.
We get to see Ben Reilly.
Ben Reilly.
He's got like a 90s like comic book color scheme going on.
He is a can of worms in this movie.
He's
so funny.
He's funny, bro.
He's so funny. He's so funny
because he's supposed to be like brooding, like like melodrama.
Yeah, they kind of use him to make fun of like the melodramatic nature of like 90s comics.
The 90s comics.
I thought it was fine, but I think like the joke of like brooding, edgy, has been done a lot before.
True,
Ben
but
Reilly
like that's just how he is.
There's a joke that they do with him later on that I thought was funny. I don't know. I get why people could be upset, but you also have to realize that like these are characters who like Ben Reilly in this movie is not the focus.
No, he's
he's a gag character, or at the very least, he is not like a central character with a lot going on. At least right now. So
I think every like specific like Spider-Man character in these movies, even in the first one, they're like they take those like traits that like make them like unique and kind of turn them to 11. Like we saw it with
Yeah, like to make them like
Spider-Ham,
stand out more. Like
saw it with
specifically
Noir, saw it
specifically in
with Penny.
Spider-Verse it was Penny, because Penny in her original comic, she's a very Evangelion, like edgy, inspired, like her narrative is very much that. Her mech literally looks like an Eva. But in the movie they just kind of like made her generic like anime girl kawaii desune, which like
which I think is on purpose now.
Yeah, it works. I mean, at the time, I was kind of like, oh man, like I wish she was, like the one in comics. But we'll talk about that later. They look at more stuff. There's like a section where there's like, I don't think it's anomalies, but it might be anomalies. Like just basically people who were in the wrong dimension and they need to get set back, and they're in those like they're trapped in those compartments, and there's a fucking cameo. There's a fucking cameo. That fucking
there's a good cameo.
Donald Glover, Childish Gambino
as the Prowler. That shit. I was like, no actual way. No actual way.
And not like an animated Donald Glover. No.
Live action Donald
That's
Glover
him.
wearing Prowler suit.
A little detail about that is that they Donald Glover does enjoy Spider-Verse, and that his children also really like it. So when they called him, he was like, "Hell yeah!" He definitely wanted to do it, and also like surprise his children as well,
and
which is so sweet.
And also, there's a lot of. Besides that, there's just a lot of history between Donald Glover, Miles Morales, and just like Spider-Man in general.
Yeah.
So back when Amazing Spider-Man was like in development and shit, there was like a whole campaign for like Donald Glover to play Spider-Man. It was Donald for Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I remember he did like a stand-up bit about it.
Yeah, and then what ended up happening was so like he was on a show called Community at the time, and like in one of the scenes, in like the opening scene of like a season or something like that, he like wakes up out of bed in like Spider-Man pajamas. So Brian Michael Bendis, the creator of Miles Morales, saw this and then was like, yo, we about to make a new Spider-Man. And that's how Miles Morales came to be. Basically.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like him being in that movie is like crazy, and it just has so much. He also voices Miles in Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, he does.
In his first like few appearances in the show, he voices Miles. And then later on he gets replaced by that guy who I don't know the name of the voice actor, but he voices Miles and everything right now. Except for Spider-Verse.
Is he also the voice in like the PS4 game?
Yeah, in the PS4 games and like the cartoons.
Okay, yeah. Miles.
But there's a bunch of web of connections.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool cameos. There's a lot of moments for like just a lot of I know that thing point at the screen. Like it's very much that, but it's fun. It's fun. And then they go to Mr. Mika. Well, first before they go,
they meet Spider-Bite.
They meet Spider-Bite's a cool character. I feel like people don't talk about her enough. She's basically like this little cyber girl who works the computers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like in her home dimension with like a VR headset, but like she's controlling.
Oh yeah.
She's controlling like an avatar.
Ready Player One look good.
She's a goat. She's a goat. Also, Hobie keeps stealing things.
Yeah.
He's a kleptomaniac. He just keeps stealing stuff.
I don't think he's a klepto. I think he's literally just like stealing is wrong, and therefore I'm going to do it.
He knew what was going to happen.
Also, he's cooking. He's cooking something, and we don't know it yet.
He knows Miguel.
So they're gonna meet Miguel.
Mr. O'Hara.
Yeah, Mr. O'Hara. He is descending from this like thing, but really slowly. And Gwen is like,
he's stanced up too. Like,
dude, Miguel is he is a huge man. He is a menacing presence. Jesus Christ, he's built like a brick.
Also, want to point out, and if this is like a comic thing, you can probably confirm it. But like, instead of being bitten by a radioactive spider, he like recreated the Spider's venom, and he injects it into himself, and that's how he gets like the power. And they show him doing it in this movie, and I was always under the impression that like he only had to do that just once, but like in this movie, it kind of implies that like, oh, does he have to like re-up the dose?
Oh,
or,
he keeps doing it. I see.
Yeah.
Mm.
It also made
Yeah.
him like. It also gave him vampire fangs and like.
Yeah, he's a vampire.
Which I guess spiders have fangs. So.
And knowing
Um,
that, like, who is he to tell anyone their place as Spider-Man?
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
like,
He didn't even get bitten by a spider.
no, and you know what's crazy is that it's anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah. He is
we
here.
find out that Miguel put together that. Well, we kind of knew this because Gwen said, but he's the one who put this whole like operation together. He gathered everyone from the multiverse to be the whatever
Spider
the Spider
Society.
Society, and we learn that Miles helping Pav save his girlfriend and her father is disrupted something known as a canon event.
The canon verse.
And
The
what
moment that was
happened-
mentioned, I was like,
What is your
And-
canon event?
I'll tell you off camera,
Okay.
off mic. But
Yeah.
basically, a canon event is essentially a in the MCU they call them fixed points. It's basically a fixed point in every universe where Spider-Man has, and no matter which iteration of Spider-Man it is, goes through a certain event in their life. So, for
Yeah.
instance, Uncle Ben getting bitten by the spider is one, unless you're Miguel O'Hara, but whatever. Uncle Ben dying, a police captain getting dead,
Slapped.
getting killed is part of that as well. And
yeah, it's specifically Police Captain Dad.
who is
Captain
close to
Dad
Spider-Man. Yeah.
dies.
We even get to see like Andrew Garfield's
Yeah.
Spider-Man as
Yeah,
well. Like
in the
reacting
background, there
to
was one of the cartoons. I forgot which cartoon it was.
Spectacular
it was,
Spider-Man.
The Spectacular Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah,
And he also appears when they're
he
showing
shows
the
up.
okay, so when they're doing like the little thing with the police captains, you actually see Spectacular Spider-Man like and Captain Stacy. And I thought that was really interesting because that is a moment that we never got to see on the cartoon because it got canceled.
I
Yeah.
saw-
Oh, really?
I saw on Twitter
is
that
so
wasn't
cool.
I saw on Twitter that wasn't actually Spectacular. That was 616 Spider-Man because they had the
But,
comic
like,
book panel, they had the
but
comic book panels right behind them, which means that in my personal thought, Spectacular might be a universe that's just very, very similar to.
Because they had Josh Keaton voicing.
Yeah, they had.
Yeah.
You know what that
Matt,
tells
why'd
me?
you lie to us?
Do you know what tells me? That tells me that Josh Keaton is the definitive Spider-Man.
See ya,
So-
Drake Bell.
Beat it, Drake.
See
Oh
ya.
my god.
Could
Yeah,
you
but like,
imagine if he was in the
That would have been so
Dude,
fucking
I would've-
funny.
I would have been like, enough, get him
my
out,
God.
get him out. But yeah,
When
this
the-
is a moment where like
When
They-
Andrew Garfield showed up, the whole like audience.
The
went,
theater-
"Oh."
yeah, this was the moment where everyone's like, oh yeah.
It got everyone.
yeah.
Moment where like basically what's being implied here is that Miles' dad is going to have to die in the future because Miles' dad just got promoted. He's
Mhm.
he's gonna be a
But he's going
captain.
to.
What we
And
oh
Miles
did you
is like,
guys
when does that happen? And Miguel is like, well, the
in
algorithm
2
says,
days.
or no. Lila says, based off her like predictive like programming, says that it happens the day he is promoted. So Miles is like, I gotta go back.
which is in 3 days, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Also-
2 or 3
Or 2
days.
days.
Also, I think you guys we kind of skipped over like a really important scene.
Yeah.
Wait, what scene
Oh,
was it?
yeah.
when
Yes.
when hold on when Spot blows up the collider,
Yeah.
he like mind projects like the future
Oh.
into
Oh, yeah.
Miles's brain,
Yeah, I
Mhm.
forgot. Also,
And
like every scene with the Spot, like it's also a totally different art style that is so like cool to look at. It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
He's constantly transforming. But yeah, we get to see
Right.
a bunch of dead bodies.
Oh, yeah. There's like Seth pointed out, like or someone pointed out in one of them, like there's a decapitated head,
Yeah.
which it's for a split second, so you didn't see it, but that is super crazy.
Spot's arc in this movie where he grows from like kind of pathetic like not one note, but like pathetic like monster of the week, villain of the week.
I
is
mean,
what
I
they call
mean, Miles literally calls him like a villain of the week tier, like
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah.
because
And
that's
then he,
just
like-
that's what Spot is.
Yeah,
But
and then he's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna make sure you take me seriously," and he becomes this literal god level threat. Is so
Yeah.
cool
Yeah, it's so
because
crazy.
it's actually like incredibly meta because the Spot in the comics, he fought Peter Parker like in maybe like the 70s or like 80s era comics for like one issue, and he had like a fun like first appearance. It's pretty much exactly beat for beat his intro scene in the movie, that comic. But then he disappears for like decades. But all of his reappearances in comics have just been like he's been delegated to like a henchman villain
Yeah.
that like dies, but then comes back to life for no real reason, just to
Yeah.
be a henchman villain.
I
you know?
literally saw an image of him getting fucking ripped apart by Carnage, and I was like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
So like this movie being like, "No, motherfuckers, I'm gonna make sure you take me seriously." That's how he talks.
Mhm.
Is like it's really cool because it's like
awesome.
it's kind of like the creators going like, "All right, bro, we're gonna make you cool. We promise. Don't worry."
We got
You
you, bro.
Him.
What else did we skipped something else? Oh yes, the return of
Peter
Our
B.
boy-
Parker. Everyone clapped. Everybody clapped.
Yeah.
Peter B.
He
He has
had
a
a very-
daughter.
he had a very like he had a he had a reveal moment. Like he was in the shadows and he walked in. Like everyone's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, it's
know,
the
in the
audience
sitcom-
clap moment.
It's
The-
literally
the-
like in a sitcom where like the
Yeah.
guest comes on the show and they clap
Yeah.
and they're like, "Woo!"
But he has a daughter
Yeah.
now, a little baby girl.
It's Mayday.
Mayday.
And
And
he gave
he's-
her like little what were they called?
Spider
Web
gadget,
little
web
mishap.
shooter,
Yeah, she has web shooters.
She's
He's
web
teaching
shooters?
her young. It's also funny because he immediately comes and he's immediately like joking around, being friendly with Miguel, and he's just like not having it.
Yeah, he
Miguel
does
does
not.
not fuck with him in any way, shape, or form.
They are. Miguel is like the very serious dad. Meanwhile, Peter B. Parker is like the very laid back, chill, like jokey dad.
I think it's
You're
because
the
like
only
well, 'cause
Spider-Man that's not funny. You're supposed to be funny.
it's
Yeah.
funny. It's also this is not funny, but they go into his backstory, Miguel. Oh god.
Uh.
And because in the scene where Miles learns about the canon events and that his father's going to die, he's basically like, so you guys are just fine with this? Is this supposed to happen? Like what am I supposed to do? And like Miguel is getting on him for disrupting a canon event that was supposed to happen. And the reason why he got so upset was because Miguel, like, he messed with the dimension stuff before. What he specifically do? He went into another dimension and just lived a different life.
Yeah, he noticed
It
that
was
he had
fucked up.
he saw that he had a family in that dimension and was like, "Yo."
And that
Let's go.
Miguel,
And that Miguel is dead.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's like, "Yo, I'm finna chill here for real." And then
he took his place.
doo, 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 it's over.
Yeah, that entire dimension collapsed in on itself. But Peter B. Parker was there?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was there.
I think
he
they already. Oh, sorry.
he knows about that.
Because when he
There-
said, because you see him there with him when the dimension collapses, and then when he's done telling the story, like he's like, "Isn't that right, Parker?" Like, and then Peter's like, "Yeah, that's what happened."
I think
Do you
they
think-
were
do you think he
already
tried
starting.
to stop him?
Maybe.
They probably already started the Spider Society at that point because
Are you sure? Because I thought no,
I-
that's no.
yeah, no,
Spider-Society
because remember
started because
the
something
post credit scene. Remember the post credit
Yeah.
scene from the first movie?
else. Mhm.
So like he was already traveling the multiverse trying to fix like
Stuff.
the stuff from the collider blowing up at the end of the first
Yeah,
movie.
That's
That
true.
was-
That's true.
Because I was thinking like that was the catalyst though, wasn't it? I was like, no, it's not. There's something that happened before.
Right. But Peter B was there, and
But
I
what's
think
fucked up-
Bros is grumpy because fucking Peter B just reminds him of his happy family because he has a kid.
Because
For
that's
sure.
what Peter is always doing. He's like, "You want to hold my baby? Do you want to see
Like,
pictures?
my baby,
Like,
I
come
took
on."
Yeah.
pictures of my baby.
I can't
And
tell if he's
Miguel
like
is just-
intentionally doing it or he's just tone deaf.
I think he's
completely.
tone deaf. I think he's being silly.
He's okay. They call it six. They call him 616 Peter, but he's technically 616. It's like 616B, I think, which means that he is like the spider, like mainline Spider-Man, but like adjacent. Really,
Mhm.
like he's not exactly the original. 'Cause we
Right.
do him.
And he's definitely not renew your vows, Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's not getting cucked. He's not
He-
getting
Well,
assaulted.
because he got
He's
his
living.
wife back, bro. He
He got his wife
he's
back.
he's in a happy marriage.
It was
Mary
like-
Jane shows up. Mary
Yeah, she
Jane
shows
is like
up.
as like Spider whatever as like a Spider.
she's in the
woman is
back.
there. Yeah.
There's
She's-
teenage
Yeah.
Mayday Parker in the background as well.
Hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
there's
crazy.
that scene. There's that scene where Miguel is getting fucking pissed at him because he's like, "You can't afford to like fuck with this shit because if you do, something terrible could happen. Like you cannot mess with the canon. You just can't."
And he
like,
really gets on Miles specifically for a very, very particular reason.
If
Oh,
enough, if enough universe like dimensions or whatever,
Yeah.
like collapse, then basically everything could go.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like you understand why he's upset, but like the thing about it is that can we say the reason why he specifically gets on Miles like now?
Well, before that, Miles
Before.
Miles manages to escape, and he's
The
like
big
trying to
chase
run
scene.
back to his the big chase scene, which apparently took like 4 years to animate. By the
Oh
way,
my
I
god,
hope
Jesus!
every
It's
animator in this
ridiculous.
movie. I hope every animator who worked on this movie at Sony Animation Pictures got like the
It's paid
greatest head of their
millions.
lives.
Mm-hmm.
They
Thank
get paid
you.
millions of dollars. Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up, Ivan.
You didn't
Holy
work on
shit.
it.
Yeah, you
Ivan,
didn't know
get
the
out
good
here.
work. You can't even draw. Like you fucking. Anyways,
That's so
It's
mean.
so-
No,
it's
you see, I'm the idea guy that changes everything every time.
You're the executive
Disgusting.
who just changes everything, makes it
It's
worse.
But yeah, so
it is so
Miles-
crazy because it's like because I said earlier Miles didn't know about the Spider Society and he didn't know about the Canonverse stuff, and he looks to his friends. He's like, "Did you guys know about this?" And they're all basically like, "Yeah." And then and this is we see fuckers from last movie are here, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we knew as well." And Penny is there, and she looks a bit more like her comic version because she went through her canon event. She's traumatized now.
her bitch wife made her watch Orange instead of Blue.
Yeah, but now they're all chasing.
Her mech is
after
updated
Miles.
too to be the more
Yeah.
comic book Evangelion style. But
Now
yeah,
they're
the
all
big
chasing
chase,
after Miles.
big chase scene happens, and Miles gets captured by, or not captured, but he gets pinned down by Miguel. And this is where we find out that Miles himself is his
The original
universe's-
anomaly.
or just like the original multiversal anomaly.
Mhm.
Because remember, in the beginning of the movie, the spider that bit him was from another dimension, meaning that the dimension that spider came from does not have a Spider-Man. And so basically there's a dimension out there that's basically defenseless against supervillains.
Right.
And there is Peter Parker of Miles' universe was not supposed to die. He was supposed to, like, according to the canon event, like, algorithm, which Lila, Miguel's AI, gets really offended when she's called an algorithm. But, like, basically predicted that, like, Peter was just supposed to, like, stop the collider, blah, blah, everything would be normal. and he wouldn't have died. But because Miles got bit by the alternate dimension spider, the domino effect happened and basically disrupted that. Which
is like
Miguel-
that's Miles'
that's
fault.
not Miles' fault.
It's not his
Kid.
fault. And he had no idea that any of this was like, because like they literally, everybody chooses to withhold information from him every single
Like-
fucking time.
Like even Gwen, like at least Gwen, she's like the newest person there. So like and like you could even say like some other person like didn't know as well. But like everybody knew except for Miles. No one told Miles about this, and it wasn't even his fault. And it's so crazy that Mr. Guy over here is saying like you're an anomaly, you're a mistake. You're not supposed
Okay,
to
Mr.
exist.
Okay, Mr. wasn't even bitten by a radioactive spider.
He literally, the way how Miguel gets his spider powers was literally just like, was just because like he got drugged by his boss. He gets drugged by his boss, gets addicted to drugs, and then decides, I'm gonna rewrite my DNA so that I don't so I'm not addicted to drugs anymore.
Right? Like wait for this grown ass man to project his fucking trauma onto a child who did nothing.
He put
If anything, if he's gonna get
Peter
angry, if he's gonna get angry about this like an anomaly situation, why not direct that anger towards the Spot who was responsible for?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying the whole time, bro. I was like, can y'all go deal with bro?
The main
Like,
villain of the
why?
story.
Why did they leave it to Gwen to monitor him and not the fucking society they
Miles is
established?
supposed to know. Shh.
And I want to make this clear. This isn't like us like
Not
oh,
criticism.
This is not a criticism of the movie. It's a criticism of like well, it's us like kind of like
Deconstructing Miguel's his
thought process here.
Because like he's well written and shit. Like I like him. It's just like I was getting pissed at him because I'm just like, you're pressing this kid super hard. And for what? You're like up in his face about it. Like Jesus.
He is a fantastic antagonist, by the way.
You are beefing with a 15-year-old child.
Literally.
And
he's a fantastic antagonist, by the way.
He's
Like,
great.
I wanted to say that.
He is great.
Why was he getting up in Miles' ear like that?
No, right?
he wanted to emphasize.
No.
He wanted bro to know that he was a mistake. He wanted bro to know that he was wrong.
And I love it.
Me next.
I love it because one of the major themes with Miles in this movie is a kind of deconstruction of like Spider-Man and its fan base in a way.
Yeah.
And specifically with how certain people just don't think that Miles is Spider-Man, even though he is. And that is the director, Miller and I fucking forget his name.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Yes, those two even like made it very prominent in interviews that yes, Miguel is a representation of those people who say that Miles is not Spider-Man.
And
and I think we all know this wouldn't be the case for one specific reason. If one little thing about Miles
yeah, because everyone was fucking even when Into the Spider-Verse came out, and it's not everybody, it's like a select minority of people, but it's these fucking people who are like refusing to call Miles Morales Spider-Man because he's
even
not
Marvel.
Because he's not technically Spider-Man.
No.
Even though, first of all, there are thousands of fucking versions of Spider-Man that are just Spider-Man, and they aren't Peter Parker, right?
You know what's crazy is that even Marvel, at a point, refused to call him Spider-Man.
They're trying to call him like Kid Arachnid or some stupid
shit.
No,
like... you see what they did? They did that shit for like the cartoons and stuff, and it was so bad. I was like, what are you doing?
It is so dumb because it's specifically with Miles. They always say shit with Miles, like, oh, he's not Spider-Man because he's not Peter Parker, even though there's other non-Peter Parker Spider-Man, Spider people. And it's what is the actual reason here, bro? Because it has to be something that y'all don't want to say. Is it because he's black? It's probably because he's black.
I'm raising my eyebrow now.
I'm raising my eyebrow. And it's
dude.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go on.
What we're saying is Miguel O'Hara is racist.
He's anti-black.
Oh God.
He's
Mhm.
anti-black. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's
Matt, you
also
go first.
crazy. It's also
Oh,
yeah. Go. I'm sorry.
I don't, I don't, I wasn't gonna really say anything. It's just what happened after that chase scene. Yeah.
Oh, I
Oh,
just
Oh
want to
yeah,
say,
yeah, yeah.
I just want to say, like, I saw like someone in the replies of like this discourse being like, they took out like a picture of a toy, being like, see, they call him Miles Morales here. What do you have to say to that? Like, I just
Yeah,
like
because
closed
that's
my
his fucking
phone.
name. His name is Miles. He's Spider-Man. And I think it's crazy too, because with the whole Canonverse type thing, like I don't really read the comics, but like I hear you guys complain about it all the time. And it's this sort of like standard, this sort of weird like thing in like
Yeah.
Marvel and Spider-Man like comic lore where it's like just basically they just feel the need to lump Spider-Man like all the fucking time.
They
Like
gotta
have him
make him
go through some
suffer
shit.
They
Like
constantly.
will
kill
not. He will
kill
not be able to rock. Never.
He can't
like
be
that guy
happy.
kill his family, take away his girlfriend, just pointless trauma for no reason, just
The
to keep it
current,
interesting.
like the current run of Spider-Man has him. He got like stuck in like an alternate dimension for like a year or something, right? And then he comes back, and like it turns out that Mary Jane like decided to like get with some other guy, and they have kids, and
Oh, it's
like
the reverse. It's the
oh,
reverse.
it's the reverse.
Yeah.
She gets stuck in another dimension.
So basically she goes into so Peter and Mary Jane get like sucked into this alternate dimension because of like some time god fucking monster thing that wants to kill Spider-Man. And to kill him and to like save Peter's life, Mary Jane pushes Peter back into the main universe essentially. And then like Peter like fucking just like goes buck wild, like fighting everybody, asking everybody for favors to save her and shit. And like he even works with like Norman Osborn. It gets crazy. And then this is like in like a few like hours to like a day. And when he comes back, it's been like years in the alternate universe. And like Mary Jane has like a family with this guy that they met in the universe and shit.
So you're telling me that it's even worse than I thought it was.
It's even worse. No,
It's
no, they
horrible.
didn't. No, they adopted those kids. They found those kids actually. So, yeah,
But yeah,
Whole
it's just
family.
like
they're
This-
undoing it. They're undoing all of
this-
it now.
I'm
okay.
sure they are. Yeah, it was a
Yeah, it's
horrible
versus
fucking
status
idea.
quo.
Miles and this movie in general, one of the major themes is the deconstruction of those like necessary points that the top like people of Spider-Man have to like put in their things. Like they gotta make him suffer.
And it doesn't mean
I
that,
gotta have like,
Gotta have
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
like, and it doesn't mean that like they're saying that like Spider-Man shouldn't be allowed to struggle or nothing.
No.
But
It's
like
just
like specifically because it's specifically like I think like deconstructing that idea, the like sort of the very obvious social commentary on how people have taken to Miles as a character.
yeah.
It's like a very obvious message of like we should like Spider-Man should be allowed to like be outside of this fucking stupid box
Yeah.
that
should
we are
not-
putting him in.
different iterations of Spider-Man should not have to conform to Peter Parker's shadow,
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
which is funny coming from Miguel O'Hara,
Mr. Miguel O'Hara.
which is like A, injected spider powers, B, laser fucking web shooters. I keep forgetting what
Yeah.
they're called.
Plus you basically killed an entire population of people because you wanted to fulfill your loneliness.
Yeah.
Plus you suck L ratio plus
L ratio plus
He's
your
so,
default.
and yeah, he's a mess. But what happened after that chase scene again?
So after the chase scene, well, actually, Miles, Miguel pretty much like tells him like, oh, you have to, do this, and this, and this, and Miles is like,
Nah.
Nah, I'm gonna do my own
I'm gonna
thing.
do my own thing.
And then he
Such a
like,
Everyone's
banger
trying to tell
line.
me how my story is supposed to go.
and then he jukes him, and basically he goes back to the Spider Society headquarters
And
because the
teleport
entire
kind of thing.
headquarters is empty now because all of the spider people were chasing after him.
hmm
Miguel gives chase, and he goes to their like machine that they were using to return all of the villains back to their home dimensions, which like scans their like DNA and matches it with their corresponding universe. And
Mhm.
Miles he turns invisible and like manipulates like the controls of the machine as like Spider
Yeah,
Bite.
so Spider-Bite and Mila do not know what's going on because they can't see him.
Yeah. And then he goes in and he begins to be transported, and Miguel shows up and he's like, "Turn it off! Turn it off!"
Yeah.
Spider Bite kind of like looks at Miles and then looks at the controls and decides to not turn it off
Because she saw another black person in trouble, and she was like, "I need to help him.
Solidarity.
I have to help him out. It
When
would be wrong of me if I didn't."
at the beginning of the sequence when they meet, they kind of have like a little like back and forth banter. Is it implying that Miles kind of like what were they implying there?
I think
like-
they,
I think
I think they were flirting.
romantic.
It felt a
Yeah.
little flirty.
A little flirty
Uh,
because like the way how Gwen like fucking drags him off.
Mhm.
Shit. Because he saw another black queen and was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yes,
hey,
yes.
Hey.
hey,
Dr.
hey."
Dr. Omar Johnson Brown.
Because they, yeah.
But yeah,
So he gets
He-
sent back home.
yes.
And
Yeah.
Miguel is fucking pissed.
And Miguel's pissed, and Miles is like he's at his home dimension, and he's trying to find his dad. And Gwen is ejected from the Spider Society, but
a
Like Among
child
Us.
too. Like, let's get that out of the way. She is also not an adult, and they're putting this all on her too, which is so crazy.
not everything isn't in vain, because when the chase sequence began, Hobie said that he quit and he leaves his like device. So he was not part of the chase scene. He's back in his own dimension. Gotta remember that. And it turns out that he actually left another device with for Gwen, so that she can help
Go
Miles.
back into the spider.
Dude is playing 5D level chess.
He's an
Like,
instigator.
He's cooking.
He's
a
always
cook
cooking.
in
and
the kitchen.
Gwen has a nice conversation with her dad before she leaves.
Yeah.
She does.
Yeah, she goes into her house and she talks to him. And there's a line in this conversation that's really, really good. Or this dialogue that she says, where she's basically saying like, "I know that you became a cop because you knew that if someone else were to take this job, like it would be in the wrong hands, so you have to do it." And she's like, that badge, and she's like, "This to me is my badge. Being Spider-Woman is my badge." And like basically like actually talks to him about like that struggle of trying to balance being Spider-Woman and being Gwen, and like levels with her dad with it, which is really, it is, I don't know, I just really liked that
I love
scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
I
real.
Very good.
Very well written. And what's also interesting in this scene is that Gwen's dad is like, "Oh yeah, I quit." Like, or he
Quit my
hasn't
job.
officially quit, but he basically said like, in that conversation I quit. Like in
Yeah,
my
like
mind,
basically after that whole shit, when she left, very soon after that he quit.
yeah.
And this is where
And-
we realize
That is what it clicks in her head, where she's like, "Wait, so that means Miles's dad just needs to quit because becoming captain starts off the event."
Right.
So she's
And-
like, "All right, let's get out. Let's go."
and it also calls back to something that Jeff Jeff said when he was talking to Spider-Man at the at the what's it called? Fucking
At the like construction.
at the construction
whatever.
site at the site of the collider or whatever. He says something about like sometimes I think I'm not ready for this. I'm not good enough. So they may be planting the seeds there. They may be planting the
Yeah.
seeds there that he's gonna quit.
Hmm.
So
Well,
yeah,
you-
they go back. They go back. Miles is because everyone's on the move right now. Miguel and Spider-Woman, and he also brought Ben Reilly with him for some fucking reason. They're like trying to go after him.
Really
And
funny.
Gwen is also trying to find the parents as well. Miles, he goes into his room, and his mom was like, "Wait, where have you been? Like, what happened?" And he's just like, "Listen, like, I gotta tell you some, like, cause earlier in the film he says that he wants to go meet all these people and do all these things, but he says like, I met all these people and did all these things, but I realized I just wasn't ready and they didn't accept me. And he's at a crossroads, and this is when he finally decides, Mom, I'm Spider-Man. Like this entire time, I have been Spider-Man. That is why I've been basically lying to you. And she's just like,
The
who's
fuck's a
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man?
And he's like, what? And she's like, oh, is that like one of your Comic-Con characters? Comic-Con exists, I guess.
Before she said Comic-Con, I legitimately got like confused.
Yeah, I
for a
was like,
second.
what?
I was like, what? She knows who Spider-Man is. What?
And
and
then
then
she
she said-
mentions Comic-Con.
Which, if you remember in the first movie, Comic-Con doesn't exist. in
Doesn't
Miles'
exist,
Yeah.
but it exists here. And then he goes out the room. He goes out the room to follow his mom, and someone's at the door. And he's like,
It's
who's at the
fucking
door? And the door opens. The door opens.
fucking
It's
Uncle
Uncle Aaron.
Aaron.
He comes back, he's like, hey man. And I love this in movies. I do not know why. Where it's a character who faces a person who they saw previously died, and they have to like see them again.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
But
oh.
I don't know about you guys, but like I felt threatened.
No, like it was
Yeah.
no, it was really
Mhm.
uneasy. Everything, like when she said that, everything suddenly felt off. Like everything
'Cause
was
the
bad.
movie
I
got
was just
really.
like,
The movie got like dark for a second.
Yeah.
Like it
Lump.
got scary.
Because
And
when
then
when Aaron showed up, and like Miles of course hugs him because he fucking
Yeah.
died. But you could kind of tell Aaron doesn't fully like embrace him.
Like, yo, who the
yeah, and
fuck
they
is this?
frame him
Like,
very
feels weirded
darkly
out.
too. Like
It
he
feels
comes
weird.
like when he arrives, he's shrouded in darkness. Like it's him, but like they
Yeah.
they frame it in a very ominous way. And then him and Miles have to go out to get groceries to help out, because and then they go outside, and what it started clicking to me more because I'm like, wait a minute, the art style is not the same as
Yeah.
in
Nope.
the other universe. Because I realized immediately, wait a minute, when Miles came here, the color palette wasn't the same
Really
as his
green.
home. As his home, yeah.
And
And then,
Wait,
first
yep.
thought that it was just like, oh, it's raining. It's in a dark emotional scene, so we're just like
yeah.
doing the lighting or whatever. But
And you're like, no, it was more intentional than that because it's just a
Oh.
totally different place.
Well, I mean, they tell us that by making Miles glitch out before he goes out to talk to his mom about the growth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck.
he glitches out and realizes that he's not home.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's
then
like,
and then he turns around. He turns around. This shit got me, bro. He turns around, and there's a mural, but it's not for Aaron. It's for his dad.
dun, dun,
In this
dun.
universe, dude, that shit got.
That's
that
when
shit
it officially
fucking got me.
clicks.
I was like, ah, like that entire sequence. I was just like, my heart was beating on my fucking chest. I was like,
So what you're
no,
saying is-
Literally.
So what you're saying is that Miles
No.
Morales is a signal.
stop.
oh, brother,
You're
this
so
fucking guy.
I
Sick.
noticed on my first watch when like Miles is like really confused talking with his mom, he says a line like, "I wish Dad was here to explain it," and like that has a double meaning
Oh,
because
it does.
he's talking about how he just wishes he was there, but to her,
But the
he's
mom
talking
thinks,
about that he's dead.
man, fuck everything. So yeah, that's there. And then he gets knocked out.
KO'd.
Gets knocked out, and he wakes up. Oh wait, no. Before he wakes up, Gwen goes to his. Gwen is actually in his universe. So Gwen is actually in the real universe, and she talks to the parents, and she's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to find Miles and stuff, and I just want you guys to know that Miles is a really sweet guy." And like trying to reassure them, but she is also not saying what's going on, so like they have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Don't want to out him.
Yeah, so then we go to Miles and he is trapped. He's in the same predicament that Peter B was in the first movie where he's all tied up against the punching bag, but this time he's tied up by Uncle Aaron.
Yeah.
And it looks like Aaron is about to fucking kill him. And he's like, dude,
Right, because he
please,
puts the Prowler glove on.
please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please. Like, I was also like, please don't do this. Holy shit. Like, do not touch him.
And this is when we get, and maybe
The
this was obvious for like a comic book reader or something, but I'm not, so it caught me off guard. It's where we get the reveal, because Miles is talking to Aaron, and he's like, "Oh, in my universe, you were the Prowler, but you didn't want to be the Prowler, and you don't have to." And he's like, "I'm not." And we turn around, and above Miles is a person in the Prowler costume staring down at him. Like,
But it's a
cast
cool
in
Prowler
shadow.
costume.
Yeah, he's like cast in shadow. And then he comes down. And then the mask comes off.
And it reveals.
And it reveals that it is fucking the
Earth
other dimension.
42
Miles
Miles.
Morales.
Miles Morales. I'm not Spider-Man anymore.
Because I'm not just Spider-Man anymore. I'm the Prowler.
My mouth was fucking agape for like a good 10 minutes. I was just like,
Now you're wondering, why is he in this universe? Well, the machine scanned his DNA, and what's in his DNA?
the
Spider from the
spider.
alternate universe.
So
Which
this
it's
is
kind
the
of
spider.
weird. It's kind of weird, but like whatever.
This is where that spider came from.
And in this
And
universe, there is no Spider-Man.
Yeah,
There is
So
no
Miles is the
Spider-Man.
Prowler.
that's why everything's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which also implies that that in this Spider-Verse like web of like connectivity, all of these universes only have spider people. No, so there's probably no X-Men. There's probably no Avengers. Right. Or
Didn't they
Fantastic
make a joke
Four.
about the Avengers like earlier on or something like that?
They made a joke
That was in No
about.
Way Home.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, they made a
They
joke
talk about
Doctor.
Doctor Strange. They talk about like Peter. They talk about like Peter from the MCU, and like the events of No Way Home.
Right.
But,
So that universe that implies that in the multiverse, I guess, that the Avengers exist, but just
like
not
actual
in this.
6-1, like actual 616.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
But
I don't.
this universe without the Spider-Man has no superheroes in it. I'm assuming.
Mhm.
So that's why it's all run down and fucked up.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit was so good. Also, he got some sick shoes. I mean, he's Miles. He has to have the sick shoes.
Yeah.
He got some sick shoes.
The-
His hair is done differently. Another
also-
clue was that earlier his mom was like, "Oh, you undid your braids," because this Miles in this universe has braids in his
Yeah,
hair.
and them
he's
shit's
like-
as long as hell. So like,
And then another thing that was brought up from a friend in another server is that how he speaks is also a little bit different as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he
And
speaks
that's
with an accent.
Yeah, and that's because, of course, since his father died, then he was raised by his mother, who has, an accent, which, of course, influenced him in his way of talking.
Which is
Right,
a
he
very
probably
cool detail.
And you
Yeah.
probably didn't see Uncle Aaron that much.
Yeah.
mm,
Maybe more recently. That's why they're not as That's why, like, when you see him like hug him and he doesn't hug him back, it's like
He's like, "What
they're
the
not as
fuck?"
close.
Yeah.
Who the
Yeah.
fuck is this guy?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Come on,
Yeah,
Miles.
so like
We
that
gotta roll.
was that shit was so fucking crazy. Because okay, I remember when the scene like when it first started getting implicated, and I was like, is Miles the Prowler here? No, he's not the Prowler here because Uncle Aaron's the Prowler. Wait, he was the Prowler in this universe. He is the Prowler in this one. Fuck.
Is that a comic book thing that like in like another universe, Miles is the Prowler, or is that like a
No.
I don't
no?
know.
Well, I think Miles has always been Spider-Man because like
Yeah.
Peter dies.
Mm.
Yeah.
But this one's
Yeah,
different.
this is
See, why
this is
can't
totally
Miguel go
new.
get this bitch?
I don't know.
Because I guess technically nothing.
Well, that nothing would have happened. Nothing would have
Yeah,
happened to the
no.
multiverse
Yeah.
if
I guess so, bro.
Yeah.
Now, is it supposed to be implied that in this universe there was no Peter Parker that turned into Spider-Man?
Yeah.
I think
mean,
Peter
they
Parker
did-
might have
they
just been a
did-
normal dude.
Well,
I forget who says it, but one of them like said, I think it was Miguel, who says like because of that spider entering his dimension, that
There's
Peter
no Spider-Man.
Parker
Yeah.
died.
I
Yeah.
think Miles also explicitly said that there was no Spider-Man here.
Yeah.
there's no Spider-Man there. Also,
Yeah,
I think
this-
what else fucking happened? So like, fuck, I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Never
I just
mind.
want to know, like, I just want to know if, like, if that spider was supposed to, like, bite
I think-
Peter, or if it was supposed to bite Miles. Like, are they
Well-
implying that Miles?
Well,
well,
because
so-
there's a little scene in that like part where like he like him in the spot kind of like mold, I guess, where like I didn't catch it at first because it's very quick, but it's like a little animated part where it's that universe's Miles, the Prowler Miles, but he's in school,
Mhm.
and I think there was a spider there. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
I think so. I have
Oh,
to look
yeah,
back at the screen. I think I have to look back at the screenshot.
Meaning that
I was
there
gonna
was
mention
no
that
previous
in
Spider-Man
the very
that
first
universe, then.
in the very first spot scene, where he's explaining the spider bite, you see like the all Miles and like in his seat at school, like in the left side.
Okay.
So like the thing about it is that like the Spider 42 is the one that bites Miles, and that's how it happens in the comics as well,
Okay.
because it's the 42nd like test of the Oz serum on like the spider that made Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, and shit.
I know in the Ultimate Universe that they were doing that.
There's
because they were trying to-
there's multiple spiders. Like there were multiple
Mm.
spiders.
Yeah.
Like, I know
Right.
in the Ultimate Universe, everything is linked to Captain America, so they're
Yeah.
trying to like recreate the.
Everybody's
Super
trying to
Spider stuff.
recreate. Everybody's
Yeah.
trying to recreate Captain America, but they can't recreate Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they try, but they fail, and then they keep getting different shit. Like,
Yeah.
you either get you get the Hulk, or you get the X-Men.
Anyway,
or you get Spider-Man.
That's a whole
Yeah.
other can of worms. The Ultimate
Yeah.
Universe.
Yeah. But yeah, Miles is fucked. Miles
So
is
he's
And
stuck in another
it's
dimension.
so it's
Stuck
so
in an-
over, but
stuck
it's
in
not
another
too
dimension.
over. It's not too
But-
over.
because
Gwen has assembled the team. We got Spider-Ham. We got Spider-Man Noir. We got Penny back. We also got Hobie. We got Pav. They're all coming together.
Spider bite.
Spider-Bite is also there. I forgot. We got the squad, and they're gonna go and try and find Miles. They're gonna save him. We still also have Miguel and Jessica trying to find them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
emo boy.
And
we
we
got-
also have
and we got
we
Ben,
also
right?
have the Spot, who's
About to
who's-
go back to the world and fucking wreck everything.
Cause
he's ready
problems.
to take everything away from Miles.
and we're left with a to be continued.
that shit.
The entire theater lost their mind.
My friend was right next to me. He was like, "Yo, what the fuck? That's some bullshit." They just Dragon Ball Z us.
Dude, stay tuned for scenes for next time on Dragon Ball Z. Like,
The thing
what the
about it is that I usually do not like cliffhangers, but like this was kind of it. This was kind of it to me because like I think just first of all it was a very crazy thing to end on, and the way that the music was swelling up, I was just like, oh, they're gonna, oh, they're gonna fucking end it. They're right here, and they did, and I was like, ah, and like I said earlier, it's like I wish it could have kept going because I really would sit down. I could watch 4 hours of this shit, to be honest.
That's what my
Yeah.
friend said next when the movie ended. She was like, I thought this was gonna end like in another 2 hours.
And they played the little credit scene. It was cool, and there's no after credits, thank God.
Yeah, that fucked me up. I was worried that I was gonna miss something.
Yeah, I
And
stayed
then
for the
and
credits
then
too.
and then you
Nothing.
you guys saved me when I typed in the chat because I had well keep in mind I had already left the movie theater. I was
Yeah.
walking to my car.
Mm,
You guys saved me from waiting for 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Also,
yeah, but fucking hell.
I want to bring up Penny. She got shonen. she
Dude,
got.
she
she
got
got-
yeah.
She looks depressed. She looks like a dark Deku.
Yeah, her fucking the captain died, I guess.
Her
Yeah.
canon event transpired. Maybe she fought her Venom.
Her
Yeah.
her
Probably.
canon events.
You know what?
She
What's
got
the crazy?
Avad.
You know what's the craziest? And this is more of a theory, but someone on Twitter was like, "Do you think that Hobie had to kill the captain in his universe
Yeah.
because
Oh
he has
my
blue laces on, which I guess in like the lace code that means you kill the police officer."
Yeah.
There's a couple theories around that. Like I saw one that was like perhaps like the Spider-Man or the police captain of his universe, they were made a bit close, and like he dies from like some other like thing,
Mhm.
and then he wears the blue laces as like a badge of guilt, which would make sense for like the whole which like with the whole like canon event like person
Yeah.
close to you.
But considering
dying.
Hobie's character, I feel like that would be interesting. But I also feel like he would have no qualms killing a pig.
What if
You
what,
know?
God damn.
But what if
With
that's
sticky
the
nose.
reason why he's like that? Like maybe his friend police officer was like the one good cop, but like the system like
Don't even
assassinated him.
Okay,
Don't
no,
even,
yeah,
don't
nah.
even,
Let's
don't
like
even.
let's not get into that.
Don't even, bro.
Just gets like shot in the head.
Holy shit.
Spider-Punk comics are super violent, by the way.
Yup.
I bet.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
But yeah,
Jesus.
this movie,
What they
it,
bang out though.
as
Amazing.
Jeff Kingley says at the Game Awards, this next game, it slapped my ass. It spit in my mouth. It called me a
It's
good
in my
boy.
grave.
This movie was like getting sucked off under the table at like Olive Garden.
Applebee's.
okay, bro. Okay, closing thoughts.
Okay,
Closing
Closing
thoughts.
thought. I think I speak
Fuck
for everyone
you.
when I said that.
I
I think I'm pretty accurate.
I think
Fuck
he's
you.
accurate too.
Fuck you. Okay,
wanna-
but anyway, this is the greatest movie that I've ever fucking
Yeah.
seen.
This movie is better than sex.
And I would
How
like
is
to
the next
continue
one gonna
watching
top it? How is the next one gonna top it?
it.
They'll do
By
it.
finishing the story.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
I want to
Yeah.
say that like one of the details that I was a little worried about is that since this movie is so fucking long, I was worried that either one, the pacing would be too drawn out, or that it would be filled with too much shit. But
No, it's perfect.
it's perfect. The pacing
Not
is
enough.
literally, yeah, it's so
I
good.
wanted more.
You like it. I think it. You like because I don't really. I mean,
It
2
takes
hours
its
isn't
time.
too bad. 2 hours isn't too bad, but like I was afraid of. Well, like I was afraid it's gonna feel like a drag, but
Yeah.
like it utilized its time so well, like to a T. Like no moment I felt was wasted.
The only
like
I feel like the only quote unquote issue is the fact that it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So like throughout the end, I was like kind of feeling it like, damn, this shit's still
but
going.
it needed to be 2 hours and 20
Yeah.
minutes long. This is
the
thing.
the
It
only
does manage
criticism I have with the first one is that it's very fast, which isn't a bad criticism, but it's
Yeah.
just like It's just
certain
like, holy,
things
holy
aren't
crap, this is a
certain
lot going
things
on.
are not certain things are not delved into as deeply as
Yeah.
you may have would have wanted them to.
But
But
this movie takes its time with its details, like relationships with Miles, his parents, all of that. It's great.
the
It's a great
themes in
movie.
this movie are so good, and I feel like they really did like sit down and like think about how to like woven all of the like ideas and themes and like connect them all together in this narrative. Like it just feels complete, even
Yep.
though this is part 2 of a trilogy of movies. It just
feels
feels
complete.
complete.
It's a
did
story
manage
in
to-
its own.
It does leave on a cliffhanger, but it does close off it does
The
close off
arcs.
the Gwen Stacy arc.
Yeah,
And
this is
also,
low key
like-
like half her movie.
Yeah.
It's about if last movie was about Miles and his like origins, and this movie is about Gwen.
Yeah, at least half of it is.
Half
In
of
her
it.
development.
One thing that the two, I forget their name each time,
Warren
guys
Miller.
behind it. Yeah.
Producers. Just call them producers.
Producers. Okay.
Or the
one
writers.
thing that
they
they
also wrote the
said.
movie.
One thing that they said is that they, this of course isn't the end of the plot, but they did want this to feel like a general like full movie, a full like story, and of course this is kind of like you get to see the full arc of Miles, his inner turmoil, and also Gwen as well. So it feels
Yeah.
complete when you watch it.
And I love Miles, dude. I love Miles.
Mhm.
That's my boy right there, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
It's peak. This is going to be the best trilogy ever.
The
It's
best
great.
trilogy ever. But I think it is time for us to call it here. I think we've talked a lot,
Yep.
and I'm ready for Beyond the
Beyond the
Spider-Verse,
Spider-Verse.
bros.
I'm ready to go to the
Possibly
movie.
next year.
Possibly
Possibly.
next year. Possibly
Yeah,
next year.
if the writers' strike ends sooner.
Okay.
And the voice actor struck too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yep.
we're gonna go to the theater, get some chai tea.
Best of luck to the
tea. It's what do you mean chai tea? You mean TT? No, but yeah.
T.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys for listening in to
Yeah.
us talk about this amazing movie.
Yep.
And we hope to see you in the next one.
And as
Yeah.
always, we'll see you next adventure.